Everyone has heard of the tragic death of Jayaraj and Bennett, a father-son duo in the small town of Thoothukudi. The series of events started with cruel outdoor enforcement methods and ended with utterly gruesome and avoidable death. The recent happening is just one drop in the enormous sea of cases of custodial death and torture. Hardly a week goes by without such incidents of torture being reported in the news. The annual report released by the National Campaign Against Torture states that there had been as many as 1,731 deaths in the police custody in the year 2019, which is 5 deaths per day. Custodial violence is one of the worst crimes in a civilized and democratic society governed by rule of law. Does a citizen strip of his fundamental right to life and personal liberty the moment police apprehend him? The answer indeed is an emphatic no. The Delhi Declaration of 1959 states that rule of law means that the functions of a government in free society should be so exercised as to create the condition in which the dignity of an individual is upheld. However, today's state of affairs concerning custodial violence stand as an antithesis to the very concept of rule of law. Let us now look into what the Indian Constitution and Indian judiciary had to say about the custodial violence. In India, where fundamental rights are held to be sacrosanct, the instance of use of torture and third degree by police on suspect casts slur on the very system of administration. While it is admitted that the police in discharging duty are vested with substantial amount of power and authority flowing from the sovereign power of the state, it doesn't mean that they're conferred with blank check of power. The court rightly observed in the case of T.V. Vetheeswaran versus State of Tamil Nadu that prison walls doesn't keep the fundamental rights out. Article 21 and 22 of the Indian Constitution are most contested provisions in this aspect. The court observed in cases like Raghubir Singh versus State of Haryana, Sheila Barsa versus State of Maharashtra, Francis Corralin Mulin versus Union Territory of Delhi, and denounced that custody and torture as being violative of Article 21 and stated that the absence of hierarchic power is the primary principle of rule of law on which the democratic edifice of the Constitution rests. Perhaps the most well-articulated position of law can be spotted in D.K. Basu versus State of West Bengal, where the court observed and stated that the instance of torture in the custody is a matter of deep concern, that instance of death in custody bashes a blow at the rule of law, where the victim is left absolutely helpless as the crime is perpetrated within the four walls of police station and under the shield of uniform, and therefore came up with the guidelines to be followed in case of arrest. The Supreme Court went even further in the case of Prakash Singh versus Union of India, where it pushed for a new legislation to regulate the police forces and set up a grievance redressal mechanism. Coming to the statutory provisions safeguarding the rights of the victim, Section 176 Clause 5 of the Criminal Code of Procedure stipulates that the magistrate holding such an inquiry shall forward the body within 24 hours to the nearest civil surgeon to examine the reasons for the person's death. The court also clarified in Lalita Kumari versus State of Uttar Pradesh that the registration of FIR is very important in the case of custodial violence and is necessary as per the section 154 of the code, as information discloses the commission of a cognizable offence. The Law Commission of India, having foreseen the problem of delay in the lodging of FIR, came up with the new section of 154A to be incorporated into the code, which permits individual to enter judicial authority to seek justice in such regard. Steps have also been taken at the international level to curb the menace of torture. The Convention Against Torture and Other Cruel, Inhuman and Degrading Treatment is the worst and one of its kind to curb the custodial violence. The Law Commission of India in its 273rd report suggested for the recommendation and implementation of UN Convention in a way of legislation ratifying it. It also made several other important contributions, one such being the draft legislation Prevention of Torture Bill. This is viewed as a positive step in enacting and implementing the objectives of United Nations Convention Against Torture. In 2017, the court sought response of the centre in a petition filed in public interest by the former Union Law Minister who protested the delay in the ratification of the 1997 UN Convention. In 2019, however, Supreme Court refused to direct the Parliament to ratify the 1997 Convention. Today I am here to conclude and say that at a time when the world is going through a change that is unprecedented, it is perhaps an opportunity to re-energize rule of law and the concept relating to democracy, especially the ones concerning custodial violence. The need of the hour is to strive and create a system where noxious negativity and avoidable misery is extirpated. It is high time that we understand that crime is a psychopathic syndrome and the criminals suffering from this shall be treated by medico-legal despair inside the prisons where they kindle and not kill. It is necessary that we understand the necessary of implementing the suggestions that the Law Commission has suggested, like sensitizing the police and encourage the institution to end torture today. Thank you.